Hello, friends. Please excuse the slurping noises. I've made myself some hot chocolate to fully enjoy this very long speed build and voiceover. So if you want to join me, then feel free to get yourself a snack or some tea or wherever you like, and let's watch this together. It's gonna be lots of fun, I think, because I had so much fun building this. It is a huge project, and I mean that. It's ridiculous the amount of time that it took me to do this entire build, but it was worth it. At least that's what I think. There's a few confusing fences and a little terrain paint on the ground for this first part. You're not gonna see much of it, and it's gonna be deleted quite soon, but I just needed that to kind of figure out where the build was gonna go with these huge lots. This is a 64 by 64 in Salvatorada. I always need some kind of layout help to see how big things are, because I feel like the scale is really hard to get right if you have no perspective, sort of, because when I look at it from top, it could as well be a, I don't know, 20 by 20 lot, except that those don't exist, but yeah, it's just hard to see how big things have to be and how everything is gonna fit on the lot and where like individual parts are gonna go. And if I don't do that, then things will just not end up looking right. So that's why I did this, to just kind of remind myself how big this main villa is gonna be, and then how big all the other parts are gonna be and where I'm gonna have to put things. And also I like to work kind of all over the place in these builds because I just need lots of variety all the time. And I don't know, actually I kind of like working on one specific part of the build until it looks right. For example, this front entrance. I have lots of fun figuring out all the individual parts and putting tiny details until everything looks just right and exactly the way I want it. That's lots of fun to me. But then again, sometimes you're gonna catch me in the middle of this build where I've done parts of the front facade, but then not even all of it. And then I'm just gonna switch to doing some landscaping because I just needed to see a little more of it come together. Because after all, this exterior only took me about 11 hours, and you're not gonna see all of those 11 hours. So the footage that I imported was 9 hours, so 2 hours I had just done off camera to begin with. I sometimes have to do that when I figure things out. So I don't know if you spotted that in the intro shot. I don't think you can see it, so I'm gonna spoil you a little bit. There's gonna be a waterfall in this lot, or actually it's 3. Is it 4? No, I think it's 3 waterfalls, which make up one big waterfall on this lot. So it took lots of just fiddling to figure that out, and then I encountered a very annoying bug which had me change some architectural / layout designy things as well, because it just wouldn't work otherwise. So I didn't show that because figuring that sort of thing out takes all of my patience and I just want to be calm doing it and not have to think about anything else, like not moving the camera too much. Also, I get angry sometimes when I have to, I don't know, figure out. Sometimes it's kind of relaxing and just rewarding to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it and kind of trick the game or whatever. Sometimes I enjoy it, and sometimes I just get really frustrated and then I moved the camera around a lot in anger, in pure rage. So I promise you do not want to see the sped up footage of that sort of thing. But that's why sometimes there's just a few skips here and there, as long as I don't think it was vital to the build or the process of building. So I try to leave everything in so that you can, kind of follow the process. Which is also why I have split this build into 2 parts, just as I've done with Villa Ava. I didn't want to cut too much out. I've already cut a little bit, and as you can tell, this video, which is exterior only, is still about 40 minutes long, which is insane because the interior did take me that same amount of time again, which was still totally worth it. Doing the interior was so much fun. I'm very, very proud of it. Make sure to watch that interior is built when it comes out next Friday. It's so good. So good. This is definitely my favorite build as of now. I say that too much, but yeah, I feel like I'm potentially not gonna be able to ever top this, to ever do better. But then again, I've been wrong every single time I thought this. So the interior and this exterior, they have just so much character. I loved doing this. Honestly, the entire time. There was never a single second where I did not want to build this. It was lots of fun and felt exactly right. So also big thanks to the original building that this is referencing, which is a mansion that is actually in France. And it is even, so the property itself is even bigger. I think the mansion should be about the same size. Although I'm not sure of that. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this original building. I think it has been sold. It was for sale, and yeah, I am pretty sure it's been sold. It was offered for about 14 million euros. Just gonna let that sink in. And the exterior is stunning. I'm gonna have to be honest, I like mine better. Am I allowed to say that? I like mine better. I feel like mine is a little more wild and has a little more personality. The setup is kind of similar. It also has the pool at the back that you're gonna see me build in a little time. But there's no waterfall, and it's just this kind of aesthetic where it's just, oh, this is a nice green lawn, and that's about it. But yeah, still very cool. Also gonna have to be honest and tell you that I did not like the interior at all. I would go so far as to say I actively dislike the interior. There's only a few pictures that I could find online. And yeah, just not my style. I'm sure it's awesome for whoever bought this. Maybe they also just, I feel like they often put interiors in these sort of listings that are just kind of bland because they want people to decorate this themselves, or at least that's what I'm hoping. But yeah, I know that just some people also have a different taste than me. That's fine. Something I really liked about the reference is that tower that you also just saw me build. I love towers. I love building towers on mansions. Just awesome. But that specific tower, the original, has a glass roof, which is epic. Really, really cool, and I think it's also a bedroom, so you can lie in the very, very top floor of your tower, of your mansion, and look up at the stars from your bed. You know what? I'm looking at this closer right now, zooming in, doing some detective work, and I'm noticing it does not have a glass roof at all. That would have been just my awesome idea. That's a bench and a picnic table on top of there that I mistook for the bed that I was seeing through this non-existent glass roof. What the hell? I mean, that's also very cool still. I haven't done a roof garden in quite some time. I feel like I want to do a roof garden soon. But yeah, okay, that is an idea that I'm just gonna be noting for a future build that has a tower. Probably gonna be quite some time until I'm building this type of, I don't know, Mediterranean mansion type build again. That type of build just fits towers very well, but I'm also suspecting that your tower needs might be filled for now after Villa Ava and now this. But yeah, if I ever do this again, I might just put a glass roof on top. So I'm looking at the sales offering right now, and they are telling me specifically, that this was built in the 19th century. You have probably already guessed that, but if not, now you know. And this villa does originally have 6 bedrooms. And I'm gonna spoil the interior video here and tell you that mine has 4 bedrooms, which are just huge. Basically every room in this build is ginormous. The interior is definitely as, if not more, luxurious and grand as the exterior, which was so much fun to do. And so the reference building has a 22-person dining room. My dining room, I'm by the way, I'm sorry I'm talking so much about the interior and then I'm not even letting you see it, but I am just gonna have to hype you for next week's speed build, I guess. My dining room has, let me count, 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, I think. It seats 10 people, which sounds ridiculously small next to this 22-person dining room. But then again, when would you ever want to invite more than 10 people in The Sims 4? And also, even if you did, they would never sit at the table at the same time. So who cares? And it also has a nightclub. So not this one. The reference has a nightclub, which is positively insane. But yeah, I think there's lots of fun interiors that I've put in this build, and that's enough advertisement for the interior speed build. If you want to download this, by the way, this is up on the gallery, and it is up in its entirety. So I was I mean, I only started this build because I was only working one day this week, so I knew I had the time to build something big, and somebody had left a comment recently. I think it was in response to me talking about if I should build in like more different worlds, or if there's anything specific that you'd like to see, and somebody said something along the lines of, I would love to see what you could do in Selva Dorada. So as I had planned this build for Selva Dorada anyways, I thought this was just the perfect nudge that I needed to actually build this. And then I started it and I realized how incredibly big this was gonna be. And then also that I was not willing to compromise on this build at all. I wanted this to be perfect, so I knew the exterior and then specifically the interior would take me a long time for me to just get every detail right and to put the same amount of love into every square meter, every part of the grid in this build. And yeah, so I'm very glad I had so much time, but I'm gonna tell you, this was a full-time job this week, at the very least, because yeah, for you to be able to download this when this exterior video comes out, I also had to have the interior completely finished, logically. So with cutting and taking screenshots, doing the video tour, editing the video tour, music, voiceover, etc., like every single little thing that goes into doing this YouTube video, I'm actually realizing now that this was way more than a full-time job, but as I said, very much worth it. If you're wondering what I'm doing right there, I have made sure to leave the entire terrain manipulation part of this thing in this build because I found it very hard to do this myself, and I thought it might be educational to watch this if you want to do something like this, because yeah, as I said, I've found doing this very complicated. I've cut out all the testing of trying to get my sim to walk up this area and then yay, correcting those tiny spots where she couldn't pass. I've cut a little of that out, but yeah, it's there in the majority of it is there. So the reference has stairs, spiral stairs that lead up to this little terrace for this guest house / pool house, which is what this little addition is gonna be. And I was gonna be okay with the stairs not being spiral as in round. I would have been okay with using the configurable stairs and make it a 2-tiered, is that 2 tiers or 3 tiers? Well, stairs that basically go round to lead up there. But then I realized that this tiny part that this was going to be attached to is a diagonal, and you cannot attach stairs to diagonal foundations, as you all know. And that bothered me so much. I was not, as I said before, I was not okay with compromising on my aesthetics for this build. So you just saw me build that with individual pieces. So what I've used there is the Gothic fence by Felixandre, and then I've used the tool mod to rotate every single piece and then elevate it into place. And that was a lot of work, so that's why I've cut a tiny bit of that. But now it has a gorgeous round shape, which is exactly what I wanted. And again, something that was very worth the sacrifice. And if you were wondering what that door I had built right below it, or below the terrace next to the stairs, my kind of makeshift self-made custom door, that is supposed to be a garage entry. Obviously this is a foundation, so there's no room for a car behind this, but I thought it did the trick for the look. That's all I wanted, because we don't have cars anyway, and I really liked the look of it, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Still drinking my chocolate milk. I hope you can even hear that with this microphone and it wasn't just some very weird pause. Oh yeah, by the way, talking of quality of things, I have recorded this entire build in 2K, and you should also be able to watch this in 2K, which should be worth it even if you are not watching it on a 2K monitor, because the quality still just looks better. Let me know if you see a difference, and if you don't see a difference, please do not let me know, because it would break my little heart. Yeah, it's just that tiny bit of more detail and of better looks. Also, it was quite hard to find a good reshade, talking of looks, to do this in in Salvadorada, because this world is so incredibly blue. It's so blue. It has so little contrast. I don't know what they were doing with this world, but I think this reshade makes everything look very epic, and I was very happy to use this. So, as I've gotten a lot of questions recently about what reshades I use, it is now always, or actually it's been in the video description for every single build for a few months now, I think. But yeah, if you're ever wondering what reshade I'm using for a specific build, then you can just check the description, and I try to put as much useful information in there as possible, but usually I just turn off all depth of field shaders during building, because that just gets a little annoying with the focus changing all the time, and then I'm quite often use a different one for the video tour and the screenshots. But yeah, it's just a process of trying to figure out what you really want, and I like to modify the presets a little bit so that they fit my needs exactly, and I try to tell you what I do if you want the exact same thing. But I would encourage you to just check out what happens when you change a few sliders, or I don't know, do some research as to what does and what might work for you specifically, and the world that you're building in and the build that you're doing. And while we're talking technical things, as I've gotten quite a few reports of people downloading my builds and the builds floating recently, as far as I know, that is usually a foundation issue, and as I'm using custom content foundations for this build as well, so this is the Colonial foundation, or one of the Colonial foundations by Felixandra, which is Patreon exclusive. I am uploading this build as tray files in the first link in the description, which is always where you can get my tray files, but I'm uploading 2 sets of tray files for this build. So one with these foundations, it's just the normal build that you can get from the gallery as well, and then one that has base game foundations. So if you want to get this build, although you do not have that specific custom content, then you can just download that build that has base game foundations, and then you can switch out all the content you don't have for whatever you do have, so you still get to use this build even if you don't have the content. It's just that floating thing is very annoying because it makes the entire build unusable, although that might even be the only thing that, or the only content that you're missing. So yeah, I hope I'm gonna remember to do this for all of my builds with a custom foundation. I did that for Villa Ava already, so if you had problems downloading that, you might want to retry that from the download link. So thank you for reminding me of that little, I'm gonna call it a feature. And if you ever have any problems downloading my build, or something's not working correctly, then feel free to tell me about it. I will try to get things fixed for you, because I want you to be able to use my builds. I can't promise that I'm gonna have a solution for everything, but yeah, I would love to help where I can. Still building this exterior, Damn. I should get to doing the waterfall soon though, for which I've used an island living debug, or I guess life added object, which is the same thing to me. I know it's not, but I just call everything a debug item. So I've used this island living life added object waterfall item, which is very cool. I'm very glad that they gave that to us. It's really cool and I love using it, and it feels really special to get to use that. But it has a huge footprint for some reason. Don't know if that's necessary for the game, but yeah, it's incredibly big, which almost always causes some routing errors for the Sims because they can't walk over all the area that counts as the footprint of that waterfall, although it is nowhere near the waterfall. So I had to figure out how to properly build this so my playtesting sim was still able to use that part of the villa that is right next to the waterfall. So it was quite literally just me placing the waterfall, raising or lowering the terrain so that it looked right, then moving the waterfall into place using the tool mod, then clicking somewhere to get my playtesting sim to move there, and then she wouldn't be able to do it. And then I would manipulate the terrain again and use the tool mod to move the waterfall. And then I would try to get her to go somewhere, and then she couldn't do it. And then I would move the waterfall, manipulate the terrain, and do this for every single of the 4 waterfalls, where also every waterfall that I would have to place and the terrain that I would then have to change for that waterfall would also change the waterfall above or below it, which I would then have to rearrange again to fit that terrain, and then change the other terrain to fit that, and then it just goes on and on. You get what I'm saying. It's just this whole kind of tiring process, but yeah, now they do have a waterfall, and if that ain't something, then what is something? Before I get too far into these existential questions, I can't believe I haven't talked about this sooner, but thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. That's epic. Kind of didn't think I would ever reach that milestone. It might not sound like so much to you, but it is an incredible amount to me that all of you want to see what I do. That's just so cool, and I appreciate you so much. So just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you, and it's also been lots of fun how well my latest speed build, which was the apartment, has been received, and I've definitely noticed that people do want to see apartments. So I might do that more from now on. I also really liked doing it. If you're wondering about this dog statue that's kind of slipping into frame sometimes, I wasn't too sure about how I wanted to do the waterfall feature originally. And I've gotta be honest, I've never noticed this fountain that came with cats and dogs ever before. And I thought it was maybe a cool feature that I could put on top of the waterfall to make the water, like the flow of the water, come from there, because it's got the same kind of reddish tone as all of the rocks and boulders in Savadorada do, so I thought it would fit really well. But then I checked it out in live mode to see what like the fountain part actually entails, and it's nothing. It's the faintest little stream of water in there, as you probably know, because You know the objects that are in the game. So a little disappointing, and then I just did it myself and it turned out great, so no complaining here. Right now on the screen I am, or I guess I was, adding just some imperfections to the build. I wanted this to look really old and like it had lived through some things, and I wanted it to look as if it really... I wanted to ground it in this setting, and a build in the middle of the jungle that has been there for over 100 years would not look as pristine as this build did. It was just too clean, too perfect, and I think that made it lose a little bit of its character. Whoops, there she goes, babbling about character again. But yeah, so I put a few flaws there, a few cracks, a few stains, and I think it really does add a lot to it. So I did that on the interior too for some rooms, and that was entirely new for me. I don't know why I've never done that before, but that really did something, and I'm gonna have to remember to do that more, at least for these historical builds. Here you see a little bit of me moving the waterfalls around, and I got to use the pond tool, which was really, really hard in this context because moving the terrain, as I've said before, moves the waterfall around with it, and then just everything is out of order, especially when you use multiple waterfalls, so would not recommend, although it does look really cool in the end. And then I'm skipping ahead through a little bit of rock placing because that is really just the same, it always is. You can see how I'm doing it here. Just putting the boulders right there, sizing them up, sizing them down, moving them into place. And that's about it. I try to make it look natural, a little random, and just hide whatever I do not want to be visible. And then I really like to put a few plants in between to make it look a little more lively. I just really wanted this to be a great view to look at from the balcony and the colonnade. Not that Salvadorada is not beautiful in all directions, but yeah, I just wanted this to be a little special, and I love to imagine sitting there, either on the swing or in this colonnade or on the balcony, and reading a book, talking to a friend, whatever, and hearing the waterfall gushing in the background. That would be positively epic. For landscaping, I filtered for island living and jungle adventure, and then I've just placed whatever looked right. And I also put a lot of cypress trees in here because I like them, and the gardener of this place might like them too, and maybe they're from Italy and it reminded them of home, and so they've planted lots of cypress trees because I'm pretty sure those do not naturally grow in this jungle climate, but that's fine with me. I'm willing to lose some realism for my cypress trees. And I'm pretty sure I'm about to start furnishing this outside a little bit. I have left the guest house / pool house, so as you can see, this house right there, the additional bit, has two entrances. It has this entrance down here, and then on the pool side it also has an entrance with a little patio part. Well, this part down here also has a patio because I would just want to spend all damn day outside if I lived in this place. Although the interior is so good, I would also want to be inside. I would have to split myself in two parts to enjoy every bit of luxury that this place offers. But oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the top part, no, the entirety of this smaller house, that's not the main villa, is a guest house. But I thought they would probably also use this top part as kind of a pool house area, so it has a bar and a little kitchen with a mini fridge, and then down on the lower floor it also has a toilet, so you wouldn't have to go all the way inside for the toilet, because from the pool I mean, because that is a long way and we all know how slow Sims are. But even in real life, yeah, you just want to have those things close by maybe, and have a place to chill out and maybe find some shade from this very hot jungle sun, even if you spend all day at the pool. I think in my reference, this part of the property has the reception room. Oh yeah, by the way, obviously as this is placed in Salvadorada, this is classified as a rental, but if you have Zerbu's venue change mod, I haven't ever used that myself, but I'm pretty sure that you can then change this into a residential, so your Sims could also live in this place if that is something that you want to do. And if not, then yeah, your Sims could go here on vacation, which is kind of cute, especially considering the price, as this is over 1 million simoleons. So probably for most of your Sims it'd be more affordable to go here for a few days instead of paying property taxes for this whole Sim year round. And then it's also a good place to relax after all the horrible things that apparently happen to you when you explore the jungle. As you know, I don't actually play the game, but I've heard of the jungle. So yeah, that's something you might want to do. And as always, if you do play with this build in any way, I would be delighted to know about it, so feel free to tell me about it. While I'm seeing myself using all those custom content chairs, gotta talk about this. Hoo boy, am I excited that they fixed those custom content chairs. Or I guess they didn't fix the chairs, they fixed the bug that made them not work. And I felt bad. I can't even remember a time before that bug. I know I'm being very dramatic, but I always felt so bad using those chairs, knowing that those builds basically wouldn't work as long as that bug wasn't fixed. I don't know if you guys, I see people do download my builds from the gallery. I don't know if you just had them batch fixed yourself and then swapped mine out, or I guess they were deleted immediately and then you put them back in, the fixed versions, or if you, I don't know, just didn't use them. But I'm very, very glad that they have fixed that, and I feel really good about uploading my builds again. Also, I'm so thankful for those animals that we can now put in our builds that came with cottage living. You see me doing that right now. That is so much fun. I love putting fireflies everywhere, especially in these builds that are surrounded by nature, and I love to put them in some really dark corners and then just imagine how beautiful that would be at night. And then I also was a manie and put a few mosquitoes around this place because, let's be honest, with all this water on this lot, there would definitely be mosquitoes everywhere. So thank you so much for watching this with me. I hope you've had as great of a time as I've had, and the video tour is coming up, so if you enjoyed seeing this build, feel free to check that out. I had lots of fun cutting it and editing it, and I will hopefully see you next week for the interior. Bye bye.